They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
A stunning report from John Durham's investigation shows the Clinton campaign paid to infiltrate Trump servers.
The report revealing the campaign was trying to establish a, quote, narrative linking Trump to Russia.
Wow. Alexandra Hoff is live in Washington with details on this bombshell report. Alexandria.
Well, Rachel, Pete, all of this was revealed within a potential conflict of interest motion filed by special counsel John Durham. It had to do with the defense team of former Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman. Michael Sussman is among those indicted so far in Durham's probe into the origins of the Trump-Russia investigation. Now, in this motion, under a section titled Factual Background, Durham reveals that Sussman paid an internet company to infiltrate servers at the White House and Trump Tower in order to create a narrative connecting then-President Trump to a Kremlin-tied bank. Durham says that Sussman billed the Clinton campaign after the internet company that a person known as Tech Executive One worked for, quote, had come to access and maintain dedicated servers as, quote, part of a sensitive arrangement whereby it provided DNS resolution services to the EOP. EOP meaning Executive Office of the President.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have demonstrable evidence that the Hillary Clinton campaign was simply a criminal enterprise acting in collusion and coordination with our intelligence and law enforcement federal agencies in order to spy on a sitting president. They spied on the president because he wasn't their preferred candidate, and it was illegal. These people will be going to jail, and hopefully for a very long time. Hillary Clinton simply and conclusively, according to the John Durham criminal filings, and John Durham is the special counsel of our federal government. John Durham is not some blogger or some guy who is acting out on his own podcast or radio show. John Durham is the chief prosecutor of the special counsel looking into the origins of the Russiagate hoax. This is not a small thing that he has just done in the last 24 hours when John Durham leveled a filing that proved the Hillary Clinton campaign paid a tech company to infiltrate the White House and to gather data from the White House servers. This is the darkest, blackest Sabbath in American politics. Watergate does not compare. There has never been a more grotesque abuse of power, a more venal or vindictive witch's kitchen, rat's nest of criminals who hold their shaky, godless, childless hands over the levers of law enforcement and justice in this nation. It is sickening, and I am sickened to my soul. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, James Clapper, James Comey, John Brennan, burn, all of them. They are in on it. Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Bruce Orr, Nell Orr, bagmen, cleanup men, Eric Holder, Loretta Lynch, Sally Yates. Ladies and gentlemen, they should all go down and burn. It is the largest political scandal in American history, in the history of this country. It is the largest modern political scandal in the history of the world. And it is going to not just be a bombshell, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the tectonic plates shifting that rip the core of magma out of an entire planetary system. This will change everything. Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign paid an internet company to infiltrate servers at Trump Tower and the White House in order to link Donald Trump to Russia in a bombshell new legal filing, according to John Durham. Reading to you from the New York Post. The Friday filing from the Department of Justice prosecutor tasked with investigating the origins of the FBI's Russian probe served to throw cold water on the Democrats' long-standing allegation of collusion, as though that horse has not been beaten dead. Special counsel John Durham filed the motion related to the potential conflicts of interest in connection with the case for the Clinton campaign. Lawyer Michael Sussman. This lawyer, Michael Sussman, walked into the FBI. He gave them hoax, fabricated information known as the dossier. He said, I'm not working for anyone. I'm just handing you this stuff, just trying to be helpful. He was, in fact, working for Hillary Clinton at the time. Ladies and gentlemen, then the Clinton campaign paid a tech firm to use workarounds. It doesn't go into details, but you can assume the workarounds were provided to them by the CIA and by our intelligence agencies. Who else will have access to White House servers? Who else could have access to the servers at the White House? They used special keys and codes in order to monitor the President of the United States, their phones, their data, their servers, their internet browsers, and to see what they were looking at online, to try and connect them and their false, phony hoax. Hillary Clinton is a witch in charge of a rat's nest of co-conspirators, and the hole goes all the way down, the rat hole, to the pit of hell. You may recall, put another penny inside of the Trump is right jar, put another nickel inside of the Trump is right jar. You may recall that Donald Trump said he was being spied upon, said it conclusively on 60 Minutes. Go.
So
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look,
put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know that.
Okay.
It wasn't just Donald Trump. It was Bill Barr, his attorney general, saying that he was spied on. Go.
The nation was turned on its head for 3 years and hyped by an irresponsible press. The greatest danger to our free system is that the incumbent government use the apparatus of the state, principally the law enforcement agencies and the intelligence agencies, to spy on political opponents, but also to use them in a way that could affect the outcome of the election. There has to be some basis before we use these very potent powers. Well, it's clearly spied upon. I mean, that's what electronic surveillance is. The people that they were taping denied any involvement with Russia, denied the very specific facts that the FBI was relying on. So what happens? The FBI ignores it, presses ahead, withholds critical exculpatory information from the court while it gets an electronic surveillance warrant. It also withholds from the court clear-cut evidence that the dossier that they ultimately relied on to get the FISA warrant was a complete sham. Their case collapsed after the election, and they never told the court, and they kept on getting renewals on these applications. There was documents falsified in order to get these renewals. And the question really is, what was the agenda after the election that kept them pressing ahead after their case collapsed? This is the President of the United States. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time in history that this has been done to a presidential campaign, the use of these counterintelligence techniques against a presidential campaign.
We know from various reports that Barack Obama was briefed on this spying, and that Barack Obama most likely gave the go-ahead for the spying operation against Donald Trump. Who else was in that meeting? Joseph Robinette Biden. A criminal conspiracy. Barack Obama's senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett, was on Fox News in the year 2020, where she was asked specifically whether Barack Obama directed the spying operation into the Trump campaign? She refused to answer because she did not want to be implicated in further criminality. Listen.
Deep down, you know.
Obama direct any of this?
That's not how it works. That's not how our investigations work. That we leave that to the intelligence community to bring forward information, and the dossier, I would imagine, would be one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And so if you're saying, is it important to make sure that there isn't influence? And actually, the Mueller report didn't conclude that there wasn't any wrongdoing. In fact, he was explicit in saying quite the opposite. And so I don't think we should read in where there hasn't been actually any conclusions to that effect yet. You're making statements that actually haven't been
just to be clear. Just to be clear, Robert Mueller said no collusion. Michael Horowitz, the IG of the FBI, said that the dossier was, quote unquote, an essential piece of all of this investigating of the Trump campaign. Essential piece was the word Michael Horowitz used. So you say it was part of a larger mosaic. We have no evidence of that.
Disgraced, known liar James Clapper said on CNN that it was Obama's orders and that Obama told us what to do as it pertained to Russiagate. Listen.
The message I'm getting from all this is apparently what we were supposed to have done was to ignore the Russian interference, ignore the Russian meddling and the threat that it poses to us. And oh, by the way, blown off what the then Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, told us to do, which was to assemble all the reporting that we could, that we had available to us, and put it in one report that the President could pass on to the Congress and to the next administration. And while we're at it, declassify as much as we possibly could to make it public, and that's what we did. It's kind of disconcerting now to be investigated for having done our duty and done what we were told to do by the president.
These people are as guilty as sin, and Donald Trump is furious. In a statement, Donald Trump says that this is bigger than Watergate, and he is correct. This scandal is far greater in scope and magnitude than Watergate. And those who were involved in it and knew about the spying operation should be subject to criminal prosecution. Maria Bartiromo said on her Fox News show today that Donald Trump should sue every last one of these people for the damage they caused to him and his presidency. Listen.
I hope Donald Trump sues them all for everything because they damaged his reputation throughout his 4 years in office, so much so that he was constantly on defense, constantly explaining that there was no collusion, constantly explaining why that he had to explain that he thought they were spying on him. All of this, again, every American should be outraged by this. Do you know how many foreign countries want to get into the White House's internet flow? How many adversaries out there want to get into the White House, the President of the United States, internet activity, and this tech executive was able to do that? What does that tell us about the national security of this country? What does that tell us of the power of the Clinton machine enabling to take down her political enemy for 4 years straight and damage his reputation? Sure. She lost the election, but this is so much bigger. This is the biggest scandal we have ever seen. Now we know for sure. They tried to cheat in the 2016 election. They tried to cheat in the 2020 election behind the guise of COVID. We are getting into it this morning. Oh, and by the way, I have to tell you, all weekend long, the White House leakers have been running around saying that Putin is going to invade Ukraine this Wednesday. So, is it all a ruse that they are really going to invade this Wednesday, or are they trying to create all of this drama because we were getting this Durham information and because we just saw 40-year highs on inflation? We're talking with the...
However, monetary damages from a lawsuit are not as bad as what could happen to these criminal co-conspirators in the United States House of Representatives. Why do you think Democrats were so dead set on election fraud laws and on attempting to not give the gavel back to Kevin McCarthy and indeed the investigators inside of the House Intel Committee. On this morning's Maria Bartiromo Morning Futures show, the top Republican intel officer inside of the House, Mike Turner, he is the House Intelligence Committee ranking member, he's from Ohio. Mike Turner said that the U.S. House are going to drag all of these rats in from their nests and are going to get to the bottom of this. They are going to start a full investigation into how Hillary Clinton infiltrated the Trump White House. The second the GOP retakes the House. Let's hope he's telling the truth. Listen.
Look, I think it's pretty clear that the Democrats have put America in a very bad spot, a vulnerable position. And now we have this breaking news this morning, something our viewers were well aware of, that Hillary Clinton made up a story to take down her political operative, Donald Trump. Back in 2016, Democrat-paid operatives illegally hacked their political opponents' communications during a presidential campaign, and then did it again to a sitting president. Your reaction to what we learned this morning about the Russia hoax lie?
Well, this is absolutely outrageous, and when you look at Durham's pleadings in the Michael Sussman case, he is basically laying out a case of where a number of laws have been broken by the Clinton campaign, and where people are being protected by Sussman's lawyers. In fact, the pleading is about trying to convince Michael Sussman and the court that he's not being well served by his own lawyers, because they're in fact protecting the Clinton campaign and others in the allegations of their bias. So the pleading set out, though, as you just indicated, that Durham has evidence of compromising of computer systems in an attempt to try to basically frame the president of the United States as having Russia ties. Now, I think that this is going to lead in the end to Brennan, Clapper, and Comey. I think that what we see is not just political shenanigans or opposition research that you would see in the normal campaigns where people are trying to find information out about their opponents. This is where government is being used, where information that's political opposition research that is false, is being made up, is trying to be placed into the government, into the FBI, to undertake criminal investigations that are absolutely false. This is a whole new level of corruption and is of grave concern.
Yeah, and we want to know when exactly Jim Comey and Clapper and Brennan started working with the Hillary Clinton campaign to take down her adversary. But frankly, these actions are characteristic of a third world dictatorship, not a democracy. So my question to you is, Adam Schiff, your colleague on the left, the Democrats have been in charge of the House since 2018. They not only have ignored, but actually denied the intelligence confirming that Hillary Clinton created the Russia hoax and used the Obama-Biden administration to spy on Trump. Will you, if you become chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, if the GOP takes the majority in November, will you hold hearings to finally reveal the truth? What will you do?
Absolutely. We have to get to the truth. I mean, this is a threat to our democracy itself. It doesn't matter really which political campaign this is or which political party this is. This is so wrong, and allegations of such level of illegal activity that goes directly to our faith in our own government, that the truth must be found. Durham is doing a great job. I appreciate that he's got this in the court system and is trying to bring this to light. But we have to get to the bottom of this. We have to find the answers so this never happens again. So we never have Americans having to distrust their own government because of the politicalization of the FBI, of our intelligence community. This is very wrong. This is very, very much a danger. And it doesn't matter which side of the aisle this is. Everyone should be outraged, and everyone should want to get to the bottom of this.
But are you going to make sure to get to the bottom of it? Congressman, I've got to tell you, people are sick and tired of things like this happening with absolutely no accountability. We know that the FBI knew that the dossier was a bunch of bunk. We know that because there was a 3-day interview back in January of 2017 where the FBI interviewed Danchenko, the subsource of the dossier, and he said, oh, no, we made it up. We embellished it. It was friends having beers. We were just joking around. And yet that dossier was used as a part of an actual official intelligence report. The media ran with it. When will we see accountability?
Right. And I think that's what's so important about what Durham is doing, because, you know, as you look, and we all do, for accountability, this is a criminal case that he's brought in federal court. Durham is laying out the information of his very exhaustive and, I believe, thorough investigation. We will certainly use every tool that we have in the Intelligence Committee, and I think certainly Jim Jordan on the Judiciary Committee and others will make certain that we use every aspect of congressional power to get to the bottom of this. But there is accountability as these criminal cases move forward. Durham's getting to the bottom of this. He's bringing forth allegations, although very troubling, are a result of his investigation, and they're in criminal court, and that's where accountability can be found.
Hear me. If your representative is not asking directly how this happened, why this happened, and stopping it, I don't care if they are red or blue or purple or green. I don't care what color your representative is, what party they represent, who they are. I don't care. If they are not concerned about this, the largest breach of faith in the history of American politics, the largest breach of ethics, and in fact the most dangerous criminal spying operation in American history, then these people are complicit or allied with the criminals, and you must throw them out. You must rip out root and stem the people who see you as the enemy. We elected Donald Trump. We did, the people. Donald Trump won. They took the apparatus of the state, weapons of war, spying operations of war, tools to be used in espionage, clandestine around the world, and they turned them on the sitting chief executive of the United States of America. Because they hate you. Because they hate this country. Because they were disgusted that they were so out of step, out of lockstep with the American people, that we told them to F off. We gave them the finger and put Donald Trump in office because we were sick of these people. They were not going to go quietly into the night. They were going to continue to attack us, and now you have seen those attacks escalate further. There's never been levels of fascism seen in Western advanced societies like this since World War II. Now is the time to fight. Now is the time for us to disassemble the administrative state that hates you, that hates me, that hates what this country is about, and that would trade us for 30 shekels of silver to China. If you are not convinced now, and if you are not awake now, then you will be forever asleep. Be awake. Now is the time. Ladies and gentlemen, let us go. Let us win. Let us take back our country now. All right, that's it, Sam.